As you guys know, 2K dropped one of the biggest updates for WWE 2K25, and a lot of it revolved around Universe Mode. Universe Mode became a better mode after this patch. Now, I decided to go on ahead and make a fresh new Universe Mode and then simulate to the part where I was at in my last file, and I did a couple different things with this one. But before we go on ahead and get into it, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you guys have been enjoying the content. Let's go on ahead and get into it. First off, the normal settings. We're going to go in there, we're going to go into options, and we're going to turn off everything that doesn't pertain to us. Intergender wrestling, automatic rivalries, tag team breakups and formations, crowd reaction changes, and injuries. And we're gonna put the cash-in rate all the way down to 0, because now that we have the ability to cash in technically wherever we want, we don't want the AI doing none of that for us. So that's definitely one thing that's always going to be standard in my Universe Mode setups. When we go into the calendar and we look at that, the first thing you guys are going to notice is yes, I kept NXT this time around. Now, after playing Universe Mode for over a month now, the one thing I did notice was that this roster was insanely too big for me to actually want to put them on both Raw and SmackDown and not have them on NXT getting any burn. Because when I was doing Raw and SmackDown, a lot of these wrestlers weren't getting any burn, and I would prefer to build them with momentum in NXT. As their overall goes up, I can go on ahead and put them on either Raw or SmackDown once it's time for me to, use them there. But the one thing I noticed with NXT is that it's actually pretty fun because the shows are already preset in the calendar. You have the Great American Bash, you already have No Mercy on there, so everything is pretty much all set. So what I did was I deleted Backlash over from there just so we can go on ahead and continue with the Universe Mode. And that's what I always tell people to do when they first get on Universe, because Backlash is just too early to do. You can go on ahead and add it on the year after if you're someone that plays the Universe Mode for years and years and years inside of the calendar. So that's definitely one thing to keep in mind. I kept everything the exact same. And now just some roster changes I made was adding Omos to NXT, because I don't have anywhere for him on Raw and SmackDown. And I think that's one thing that you can toy around with. You can take wrestlers from Raw and SmackDown and put them in NXT if you're not using them, so they can continue to get burned and their overall continues increasing if they are someone that you want to build up for the main roster. So it's always cool to keep that in mind. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that for NXT, I went ahead and put the NXT Championship, North American, Women's Championship, and Women's North American Championship. Now, I don't have time for another tag division, and one thing you guys are going to notice in a second is that I only have one big tag division. I do not have two, so I'm going to get into that. But for this NXT, I'm not doing it because the goal for me is to have about 4 to 5 single matches. Those are going to be just matches for me to get these stars up and get their momentum and overall changing, because I've noticed that the more you play with these characters and the more they win, their overall goes up. Like Jacob Fatu in my Universe Mode was like a 97 overall because I was building him at a crazy fast rate where he was getting matches every week and winning every single week. So it's always cool to make sure that, and with promos and things like that, you can stack those +1s as well. Universe Mode this year, I feel like there's a lot there to learn, so I just wanted to put that out there. Now, when we go into my Universe Mode, here are my champions. Here's everything that I have. The one thing I did do, I put one tag team division all around the cross brand. Why? Because I'm already not a huge fan of tag team matches, and I don't like running the divisions in the game as much. So what I do is I run one champion on both brands, have tag teams go at it. And I also feel like there's just not enough great tag teams to really run two. At least for me personally, I would just like one and just have fun with that. Now, again, it is your decision. If you want to have 2 tag team champions, you can. And honestly, I change my mind about all this stuff all the time, but this is one thing that I have been pretty adamant about all year. So that's just, again, it's just what you want to do with that. And something else that I did do in my Universe Mode that you guys can now do, D-Generation X does have their Trons and all of that. So what I did was I created D-Generation X, and I only have them as a tag team exclusive. Triple H, Shawn Michaels will not be fighting any single matches in my Universe Mode, but Shawn Michaels, Triple H will be in a tag team, and they will be running the tag team division for a little bit, at least for me. So just an idea for you guys. I'm not too crazy about legend tag teams, getting in for the modern era, but I'm always cool with like the Dudleys, Triple H, Shawn Michaels being able to do stuff like that. So just something to keep in mind as well. You can have stuff to unify the titles and just do different things. One thing that I do want to mention for roster building, I know that I've given you guys different ideas. I've given you guys the heads and tails idea, being able to just go in there in the roster and just switch everything up. Now we have LOL Wrestling. Shout out to this website. I've mentioned it in the past before. Easy way to draft. You can do an interactive one where you choose, or you can do a quick one where it automatically does it for you, and you can filter out who you don't want to be in the draft, just such as DLC, such as NPCs, whatever the case may be. I really am a fan of this site. I've mentioned it about 2 years ago, I believe. So this is a really cool site that you guys should go on ahead and check out, and the link will be down below in the description. So just a quick way to show you guys how to draft, a more effective way for you guys, and a more of a real way. If you have a buddy, you can go in there and both start choosing wrestlers, Raw and SmackDown and NXT, if you are doing what I'm doing. So just something cool out there, and you can introduce NXT as the third brand, which is cool in your universe mode. Right now, for me, they are still sort of a development brand, so where I just use wrestlers that I'm not using, put them in there. If I want to use some community creations wrestlers, such as like a Kenny Omega, Ricky Saints, I start them off there and then build them up, sort of how they do in real life, where they bring wrestlers from other companies, throw them in NXT for a couple months, and then push them to the main roster. So just something for you guys, you know, to be able to do with your universe mode. And again, I don't do much. 7 to 8 matches is enough. That still hasn't changed from my old universe mode, so it is something to keep in mind with this one. So make sure that you guys, you know, mess with that. 7, 8, whatever you guys think is right, because again, promos already do take up a slot, so something to keep in mind. And just some tips and tricks, y'all. One thing that I do like doing with my PLEs now, you can do open challenges at your PLEs. You can do a bunch of different things now that PLE cutscenes are in the game. And one thing I'm going to show you guys how to cash in, because a lot of people have been asking. It's pretty simple to do the cash in, and with the cash in, you just have to make sure that you're on the same brand, and sometimes you don't even, because for PLEs it hosts both shows, but make sure that the briefcase is targeting the right championship and the superstar is on there that you put in the match first. So for example, if CM Punk is the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, you put him in the match versus the superstar, and then you press the Money in the Bank cash in for whatever you want to do, triple threat, post, whatever you want to do, and then it's going to ask you to choose someone who the champion is fighting prior to the cutscene showing. So it is a pretty simple fix. You don't have to do anything more, as you guys see on the screen. This is one of the most effective ways, at least for me, to go on ahead and do this, and it's the only way to do it. I don't really know any other way to do it, but again, people have been asking. I want to show you guys that trick, you know, to make sure that you get that working. And again, there is so many more possibilities now. PLE cutscenes unfortunately don't work in championship matches. It will turn it into a default one-on-one match, but honestly, it is still an improvement. You can switch the title after the cutscene happens, and now I can have my manager turn on someone at a PLE. Hopefully this is something that 2K can do. I know that, you know, they listen to people, and hopefully this is one of those things that they may just be watching this video. We need championship match cutscenes, and it doesn't even have to be much different from now. We just need to be able to have the title change right after a cutscene happens, instead of having to go and manually do it ourselves, because again, the match goes into a normal one-on-one match once we do that. Saturday night main event, make sure that you go on ahead and add that wherever you want. Me personally, I went ahead and did one in July between Money in the Bank, you know, and SummerSlam, just to have it there, because the next one is in December, and as you guys know, they do these every couple months. You want to make sure that you are doing it at your own pace, but me personally, I like doing it every couple months. You know, it's just a really cool PLE, and I love seeing the Saturday night main event arena. I think that it's a really big W for the WWE and the 2K game now having it. So this is my universe mode, man. Let me know down below what you guys are doing to build your universe mode and create the best one. These are just my tips and tricks on an updated one. If they ever continue dropping more patches and more things that are going to change universe mode drastically, I will drop another update for you guys, but this right now is what I'm rocking out with. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you guys have been enjoying the content. I'm gonna catch y'all. Peace.